And what's going on, guys? Welcome to a bit of a different video from what I usually do. This is not, well, this isn't going to be a tour or anything, but this is basically my room. This is where the magic happens. It's my computer setup and collection, all that stuff. So basically, I did go over my game collection last time when I did this video. Like, I think I did a video like 3 years ago showing like my game collection and all that. It's still on that shelf, but this time well, I got my collector's boxes up there for my games. Tales of Xillia 2, Psychopaths, Tales of Berseria, Tales of Hysteria. I got some figures. I got like got the Doom Collector's Edition figure, Danganronpa, some other random figures here, and they're basically standing in front of the Last Guardian collector's box. And I got obviously my games here, but there's just a lot of clutter. Like, obviously, if I just you look at it right here, it just looks really like there's a lot of unorganized, not a lot of organization going on here. Main reason for that is I do not have a lot of space for my games, so I've had to kind of improvise in terms of space. I've moved most of my movies over to this these Blu-ray racks here. I've got kind of a mix of DVDs and Blu-ray stuff. See my Yakuza 6 collector's box. But basically, this is how I've had to organize my movies. I put them all on these two Blu-ray racks I've had in front of my game shelves. If I really need to get to a shelf behind this Blu-ray rack, I just move the rack. Bit of an annoyance, but it's kind of what I have to do in order to make more space on this shelf right here. So I'm basically, like I said, this is more or less going to be my 2,000 subscriber special. I know it's not very creative. I do want to do more videos like this, just showing off my collection, but basically I'm just going to be going over my manga and anime stuff in this video. So this video is pretty much going to 100% confirm I'm a complete weeb. But anyways, see Fade Zero in the background there. Got more collector's box stuff. Collector's boxes here. Samurai Jack, the complete series. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I have not played that game forever. Persona 5. Need to finish that game. I got like halfway through the game and I just dropped it just because I got preoccupied with other stuff. Iron Giant. Random figures. Gears of War 4. Walking Dead. Here we've got some of the manga. I moved the movie. This used to be my movie shelf. I moved the movies over to the racks there. But let's start off with some of my manga here. We got Goodnight Pun Pun, volumes 1 through 3. Goodnight Pun Pun is a depressing series. It's really weird because it mainly features a cartoon bird-like character. But it's very depressing, but it's also very relatable. Like, it goes through this, the life of this, cartoon bird by the name of Pun Pun, or Pun Pun Puniyama, or whatever his name is. And obviously the rest of his family are like these cartoon bird creatures, but to the people in the manga, they're basically seen as humans. It's really, like I said, it's really interesting. The characters are interesting mainly because they're so human despite their cartoonish bird-like appearance. But the story is just really, like I said, really depressing. It has its ups and downs, and it's not all bad. But like I said, the characters are very human and tend to make a lot of mistakes. And they're not the most, a lot of the characters in the manga are really not the most likable, Pun Pun included. But I need to finish it. I've only gotten through 1 through 3, and so far it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty good read. But yeah, that's Goodnight Pun Pun. We got, of course, volumes 1 through 3 of Parasite. So far, it's the Parasite manga. Obviously, was done in the 80s. It's very different from the anime so far, from what I've read of it. You know, mainly, the art style is very different, considering this was made, like I said, made in the 80s. Story is pretty much the same as the anime. The anime just kind of modernized things. There are some differences with some of the characters, and there's a little bit more detail, but that's pretty much to be expected. We got a little Pennywise Funko Pop figure here. Evangelion Campus Apocalypse. Have not read it. It's a spin-off of Evangelion. I've been meaning to get around to reading it. I don't really know much about it other than it obviously changes up the story of Evangelion and changes up the character of Shinji to being a more likable character, which is always good in my opinion. Fullmetal Alchemist, random volumes of Fullmetal Alchemist. I got 1, 2, and 13. I need to get the complete series. I know. I'm planning on getting the box set someday. That's Blackout. I'll go over that in a minute. I want to show the manga I've got down here. Is One Punch Man, volumes 1 through 10. Ajin, 1 and 2. I don't really have much. I'm pretty sure everybody should already know about One Punch Man. One Punch Man is good shit. Anime is great. Manga's even better. The manga, obviously, same with Parasite. Manga's more detailed. It goes into a lot more story in terms of just the situation Saitama gets into. So, yeah, that's really all there is to say there. Ajin 1 and 2. Ajin basically, it's similar to Tokyo Ghoul in a way. It has to do with these people that are basically immortal, like they can't die. And they have these things called ghosts or black ghosts or something that come out of them. And the black ghosts can act independently from them. So it's pretty interesting stuff. It's pretty different from Tokyo Ghoul. It has a similar setup to where these people are basically being hunted down by the government because they're different. They're not human, because they're immortal. The government's hunting them and trying to figure out how they can potentially hunt and kill these things and just get rid of them, or just basically experimenting on them and finding out how they work. So the only way they end up they can capture these people who are Ajin is to tranquilize them. So the government just brings out tranquilizers to try to capture these people because they can't kill them by normal means, because when they do, they'll just come back to life. So that creates some pretty interesting situations, but I still need to get volume 3 and read the rest of the series that's out so far. So far it's pretty good. I saw the anime before the manga, so that's what's kind of got me interested. And I got the limited edition set for the first season, so that came with the first volume of the manga. And then I got the second volume later on. Still need to get the other ones. Platinum End, volumes 1 through 3. I got this because I heard it was done by the artist of Death Note and the writer, or the writer for Death Note. What was it? Sugumi Oba and Takashi Obata. So they did Platinum End, and these covers are really nice. Like this has this like a kind of holographic look to it. That's pretty sweet. They all kind of have that, which is pretty cool. Story so far is pretty good. Basically, it has to do with this guy who's trying to kill himself, or he's trying to end his life, and he's saved by like an angelic type character, and basically, TLDR, it becomes like this kind of battle royale type situation where there are other people that have these angels and they have different abilities, and they're all basically doing whatever they want using these abilities. And there's one guy that's basically just kind of setting himself up to be like a superhero type character. The main character and his, kind of girlfriend, this girl he's basically friends with, and he wants to be his girlfriend, whatever. They're trying to go after this guy, and there's kind of like a growing he's kind of forming an alliance of people who are trying to take this guy down because he's using his powers to basically threaten people and threaten society. So it's kind of getting into a pretty interesting plot line. I've only read volumes 1 through 3, so it's pretty good so far. I know volumes 4 and 5 are currently out, so I need to pick those up and read them. But so far, it's pretty good stuff. Eden, It's an Endless World. I picked, obviously, we got the Morgana plush, or the Morgana plush that came with the Persona 5 limited edition up there, the premium edition set. We got Eden by Hiroki Endo. I picked this up on a whim when I was at a comic shop on vacation, and I'm really glad I did. This is a really, really good, but really dark and really gritty story. Basically, dystopian future, or like a post-apocalyptic type of world where everybody kind of fends for themselves, and it's pretty good stuff. The general setting is fairly typical, but the characters make it really interesting because, similar with Pun Pun, the characters are very human. They're very they're portrayed very realistically. But it's pretty good so far. I think it's a really underrated series. There's not really a lot of people that talk about it. Unfortunately, it's really hard to find. Like, I found volumes 1 through 4 fairly easily, but like there are other volumes, like specifically, I think there was either volume 5 or one other volume that's just really, really expensive and just really hard to get. So that's pretty unfortunate because, like I said, the manga so far is pretty good. I remember I read, it's been a while since I read it, so I really need to get back into reading it and pick up some more volumes. This one's kind of tiny, so it's hard to see. This is The Hound and Other Stories by Go Tanabe. Adaptation and artwork. H.P. Lovecraft's The Hound. So basically this is an adaptation of various different H.P. Lovecraft stories in like a manga art style. I picked it up because the concept seemed pretty interesting to me, so I just decided to kind of like an on a whim purchase. It's pretty good. Not amazing, but good for what it is, I guess. It's basically like the title implies, or like the title says, it's Lovecraft, but with a manga art style. So if you're into that, yeah, I would say pick it up. You'll probably like it. To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, volumes 1 through 5. I'm going to try to be a little bit brief on my descriptions of these because there's a lot to get to. I heard of this series, and I heard that it was being done by Maybe or Mayabe. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but I guess he's just Maybe. Maybe. He was the guy that wrote Dust Maiden of Amnesia. And I picked it up because it was done by him, and I really, really like the Dust Maiden of Amnesia anime. Abandoned Sacred Beasts is pretty different, though. Basically, it's like this alternate history type thing, where it's like a civil war setting, and there are these humans who fought in this kind of civil war, like kind of like a war that was similar to the Civil War, and the only way that one side, like I think it was the South, could win the Civil War was if they experimented with some kind of black magic that transformed them all into these beasts called incarnates. And basically the story has to do with the main character, Shawl. Her father became incarnate. Her father gets killed by this guy who's like an assassin who used to be a soldier called Hank. Hank is also an incarnate, but he's basically an incarnate, or like a half-breed type situation where he's going out and killing all the other incarnates because he made some promise that, you know, if the other incarnates ever lost control, he would go and, you know, end their lives. It's basically what he's doing. So basically the main character, Shawl, joins Hank on his journey to go and kill all the other incarnates. Obviously, that's not the whole story. It gets into more of a plot around the second volume, I want to say, near the end of it, and kind of goes from there. It's pretty interesting, but it goes at a pretty fast, well, the pacing is a little bit weird, because at some points it's kind of like this monster of the week type thing, and then at others it kind of goes back to the main plot, so it's a little bit weird how it goes, but it's pretty good. There's only volumes 1 through 5 right now. I think 6 is going to be coming out eventually, like pretty soon. Sometime soon, I'm not exactly sure when, but I'm looking forward to it. It seems like it's kind of coming to an end. I'm not really sure. It seems like it's going to be a really short series. Tokyo Ghoul Re, sequel to Tokyo Ghoul, obviously. Again, don't really have to talk much about Tokyo Ghoul. I've talked quite a bit about Tokyo Ghoul on the channel. The manga is pretty good so far. At least this is obviously a sequel to Tokyo Ghoul. But there's a lot of details and characters, and the thing with Tokyo Ghoul Re, my main complaint so far is there's way too many like new characters to get introduced, and there's way too many characters to keep track of. The story is solid, obviously. Artwork is amazing. Suya Ishida has some really great artwork. Characters, aside from like the main cast, all the side characters are kind of hard to all, just keep track of. Tokyo Ghoul, I felt, was a little bit more, it was a little bit more compact in terms of its characters. You could really like keep track of the characters more, and you could than you could in Tokyo Ghoul Re, because Re just has a much bigger cast. But yeah, I don't know. That's something that'll probably hopefully improve later on. I've only read volumes 1 through 4 so far. Pretty good story, but also very different from the original Tokyo Ghoul. If you go from Tokyo Ghoul right to Tokyo Ghoul Re, You'll be a little bit confused at first, but once you start reading more into it, you'll get the hang of it and you'll understand what's going on. But yeah, at first when I started reading this, I was like, what's happening? Like, I was kind of, I was a little bit thrown for a loop, but yeah, once you start reading, like I said, once you start reading more into it, you'll get the hang of what's happening. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. This is Black God 1 through 17. So I've got Black God 1 through 17 right now. Black God is a mangaka. It's a Korean, or it's a manga made by a Korean guy, as you can see. Young Lim and Zungwoo Park. I watched this anime called Kurakami a while ago, and I really, like, a long time ago when I was really first getting into anime. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those really, in my opinion, really underrated shows. Basically has to do with these people by the name of Terra Guardians that, like, keep the balance of energy, also known as, Terra in the world. And the main character, Kuro, she's trying to kill her brother because he's disrupted the balance of Terra, and he killed her mother, and she doesn't know why, so she's trying to go and basically get revenge for him for the death of her family. And then there's another character by the name of Keita who gets involved in all this and ends up actually getting killed. Like, the very first thing you see in the first episode of Kurakami is the main character, well, pretty much the main character, Keita, lying in the pool of his own blood on the ground, dead. So, yeah, that hooked me instantly, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So, it hooks you instantly, and it really just, in my opinion, I mean, the pacing is, but for the most part, it never really stops. It's really usually pretty much always remained interesting throughout the entire series. Really good show. The manga is a little bit different. It goes into more detail, and the anime deviates in the second half, and the manga is a very different story after that point, at around where the anime deviates. So manga is pretty different, and in my opinion, I would say the manga is a little bit better, but I still really like the anime. One thing I would warn if anybody's, warn you about if anybody's trying to watch it, anime has a really shitty ending. Like, it doesn't have a really good ending, in my opinion. I don't know about the manga ending, but the manga ending kind of, or the anime ending kind of sucks. But anyway, now we're going to be getting into the anime. Okay, so we got Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, Second Gig, Dimension W, picked that up on a whim, One Punch Man, Kill la Kill, the entire series, and Berserk 2016. People are going to get on me for having this, and especially for me having the limited edition set, but I don't really think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Is the animation off-putting? Yes, it is. It looks a little bit better on Blu-ray than it does in the broadcast version, so that might have been what turned a lot of people off. I can't necessarily blame them. For the most part, the story is pretty faithful, actually, to the manga. I know that might change in the second half of it, Berserk 2017, but 2016, which mainly just covers the Conviction arc, is pretty decent in terms of it being an adaptation. In terms of animation, if you can tolerate it, it's not that bad. But if you can't tolerate, like, really bad CG, then you're not going to like it. But it does transition from 2D to CG animation sometimes, and when it does that, I think it looks a lot better, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so next up we got Time of Eve, the movie. I also picked this up on a whim, and I think it was on sale. Really good movie, basically about, like, these people and androids that kind of go to the same cafe together, and it basically takes place in the future where people owning androids has become commonplace, and the people and androids that go to this one cafe called the Time of Eve, they don't know, like, who's a person and who's an android. So that creates some pretty interesting situations, and that's basically, like, the gist of the movie. But the main character, he owns an android, and his android goes there too, and he doesn't know, like, when the android goes there, she has, like, a personality and everything, and she's completely different from how she is at the house, because when they go to this cafe, there's no way to tell them apart. Like, the androids can basically, like, be themselves. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Really good movie. Pretty underrated, in my opinion. Another anime I don't really hear people talking about a lot.
Next up is Freedom. Freedom is actually done by the guy that did Akira, or at least I think the story and the art as well is also done by the guy that did Akira. Otomo, Tetsuhiro Otomo, or whatever his name is, Otomo. It's an OVA series. It's pretty good. I don't really want to go into the plot for everything that I own, but I will just say it's pretty good show, or well, pretty good OVA series. But it's also CG, not CG like Berserk, but CG. It's actually good, consistent CG. Berserk is a little bit janky at times with this animation. Freedom is pretty consistent, and for the most part, it looks pretty good for a CG animated thing. So I would recommend it. It's pretty good. I think I got this for it was on sale too. Got this on a whim for like $40 or so. It's pretty good. Like I said, it's a good series. Eden of the East. I've heard mixed things about Eden of the East. I got the premium edition box set when Right Stuff Anime was having their Funimation sale that they had recently. I got this for like $50, so usually this goes for like $90, like $90 plus, and I think this is going out of print. So I decided I may as well pick this up because this has the entire series, the movies, and some art cards, and it comes in a nice box. So it's a pretty good deal, especially for like just $50. Not bad. Gunslinger Girl, the entire series, the first season, the second season, and the OVA. I saw the first season of Gunslinger Girl a long time ago, but I remember really enjoying it. I have not seen the second season or the OVAs, unfortunately. I've only seen the first season, so I can't really speak on the second season, but the first season is pretty good. Basilisk, I've heard of this. Again, these are all recent pickups too. I picked pretty much all of these up during the Funimation sale. So we got Basilisk. It's basically like a Romeo and Juliet type story in a feudal Japan setting, which is a pretty interesting concept. And there's a lot of death, gore, and tragic stuff in there. So good times all around. Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. I've seen this before a long time ago, and I've also seen the original series, but unfortunately I only have Fumoffu right now. I do not have the second season. I need to get them though because I really love Full Metal Panic. Fortunately, we got the save version of Senran Kagura. Don't judge me. Ninja Flash, which is the animated series or anime for Senran Kagura. Haven't seen it, but it was like, again, this was on sale too for like $17, marked down from like $30. And we got Garay Zero. Haven't seen it. Picked it up on sale, so it's another on a whim purchase. And that is the anime stuff. I've got like shows and movies down there. So, and we come over to this shelf over here. We got more manga over here, and we've got some figures. So we got a Amelia figure. We got we got the girl from Data Life. Can't believe I forget. I think it was Toka. And then we got Tales of Zillia 2 figure, Luger from Tales of Zillia 2. We got Blame, Volume 1 through 4, the Master Edition. This is basically the oversized volumes for Blame, or Blam. I think it's Blam. Blam is a very minimalistic manga in terms of its story, and somewhat in terms of its art. And in terms of its character designs and character art, sometimes it feels very minimalistic. But in terms of its architectural design, it's just crazy amounts of detail. And that makes sense because the author, Tsutomu Nihei, he has like a background in architecture or architectural design. So he's really good with that kind of stuff. But the story basically follows this guy by the name of Kiri, who is basically wandering around this giant megastructure city known, I think just known as the City, trying to find something known as the Net Terminal Gene. Basically, the city has been expanding throughout the entire world, and the AI program, or the builder, called the builders, who are just building the city, are continuing to build, and they're not stopping. So they're basically expanding upon the city, and there is no end to there's basically no end to the city. It's just massive. Somebody did basically compared it to the size of like this
of a planet that's actually twice the size of Earth. So somehow it's bigger than Earth. It's just insane. But basically, the net terminal gene, once Kiri finds it, will stop everything, will stop the expansion of the city, and will stop the builders from building the city. And that's basically his overall goal in the manga. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it, but it's very light on story. There's a lot of quiet moments in Blam, where Kiri is just walking, and it's very reliant on its imagery, if anything. Like, it has some pretty crazy and out there images and like just concepts in terms of some of the imagery in Blam. So it's just it's very strange to look at sometimes, some of the creature designs and designs for some of the things that Kiri comes across in his travels. We got Monster, Perfect Edition, volumes 1 through 3. Let's move Toka out of the way. Priest, this is a Chinese manga, or manhwa. I have not read it. I really need to. I have read Monster. Monster is really good so far. Really looking forward to getting Volume 4. Need to get that eventually. Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin, Volume 1. Basically, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin, the manga at least, is a retelling of the original Mobile Suit Gundam in manga form. So that'll be interesting to read because I've seen the original series and I really love the original series of Mobile Suit Gundam. I'm currently watching Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta right now. So that's really good so far. I'm almost done with the first part and I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to pick up the second part pretty soon. So yeah, I need to get around to reading this. Junji Ito's Shiver is basically a collection of Junji Ito's stories, various different Junji Ito stories. If you don't know about who Junji Ito is, you're doing yourself a disservice. Look him up and just start reading his stuff. It's really fucking crazy. Even if you don't like manga, I think you'll find something to like about Junji Ito if you're a horror fan in general. And speaking of horror, we have on top of some Berserk manga, we have Birthday, Spiral, The Ring, Birthday, Spiral, The Ring, or two versions of The Ring actually. I think. Well, okay, we got The Ring Zero, The Ring, and The Ring. I guess that's just a sequel or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read it. But these are manga adaptations of The Ring and Ju-On the Grudge. Ju-On the Grudge is fucking awful. I really want to make a video someday talking about how terrible the manga for this is. These are basically just on a whim purchases too. Ju-On the Grudge, the manga version of it, is absolute trash. It's nothing like the movies, and just not in a good way. So I really want to talk about that sometime. The Ring, however, really tends to vary in quality. Like, The Ring Zero is basically, like, as the name implies, it's a prequel, and it has a lot to do with Sadako and how she was before she became, like a ghost. And then The Ring, which is manga adaptation of the movie, it pretty much adapts the plot pretty faithfully to, for the most part, with some differences. The Ring, I'm guessing this is a sequel. I think it is a sequel. It's okay, but not really much I can say about it. Spiral, I don't really remember much about Spiral. Maybe it was just so bad I just didn't really remember it. I do, however, remember Birthday. Birthday is weird shit. Basically, it takes the whole concept of The Ring, and you know how The Ring deals with ghosts and the paranormal? Well, Birthday basically turns it into a virus, kind of like T-virus or something like that. It turns it into like it gets like a viral infection or something. There's going to be like a viral outbreak. It's really crazy. I don't remember too much about it, but and then one of these also, I don't know if this is the thing in the movie, but basically says that Sadako was like a transvestite, which I was like, okay, that threw me. When I first saw that, I was like, what? So yeah, it does it kind of fucks with the lore for The Ring. Birthday, even more so. Birthday just kind of, like I said, it does this whole viral outbreak type horror, which is really different for The Ring because The Ring is like paranormal. Birthday is like this kind of Resident Evil outbreak thing. So that was kind of weird. We got Strike the Blood, volumes 1 and 2, light novels. I read the first one. The first one's good. I never got around to reading the second one. I've seen the anime. The anime was great, so I kind of maybe want to pick up the light novels. Berserk volumes 1 through 24. Unfortunately, I do not have any more. I need to get the other volumes, but so far, there's not really much I can say about Berserk. It's fantastic. If you don't know anything about Berserk, again, like with Junji Ito, you're doing yourself a disservice. Pick up Berserk and read it right now. It will hook you. Berserk is amazing. And there is no anime adaptation that can truly do the justice to Kentaro Miura's art. It is truly a sight to behold. So definitely check this out. Really good stuff. Highly recommended, especially if you like dark fantasy stuff. Holy fuck, this gets really dark. Like it gets really dark. So definitely check it out. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit transparent here. I'm recording this at a different time, and that's mainly because my battery was about to run out when I first started recording a collection video. So I am doing this on another day and just basically doing the rest of the collection video. But in between that time, I got the Attack on Titan, No Regrets, which is basically the Levi's backstory from Attack on Titan, and Volumes 1 and 3 of the Attack on Titan Colossal Editions. These things are huge. I completely underestimated how huge these things would be. But I only have 1 and 3 right now. Volume 2 is coming in the mail. Basically, these collect, like, a lot of the Attack on Titan volumes. So, 1 through 3 is basically, like, the first and second season of Attack on Titan, and even goes a little bit beyond that, too, from what I've read. And it also has, like, these really nice paper quality and all that. So it's very high quality. And the No Regrets, this is the hardcover edition. It's full color. As you can probably see, complete color edition. So I got that now, and I had to move Priest around, move the Priest manga volumes. And as you can tell, I moved around. I had to move the Berserk volumes out of the way, mainly because of space limitations. I'm having to use like bookends and putting these on a shelf because this shelf has no borders, as you can tell. I had to use bookends to basically just keep all these together. I'm eventually going to get these CD cases, which you can stack and use them as shelves. So I'm probably going to use those to store my manga, because my manga collection is getting a little bit out of hand. So here I had, like I said, I had to move Berserk out of the way. Those are also being held together by bookends. These are also being held together by more bookends. So we got Junji Ito's Dissolving Classroom. Really good, really disturbing story. Junji Ito is just fucking amazing. I've got some other Junji Ito stuff. Volumes 13 and 14 of the Evangelion manga. I do not, unfortunately, have the omnibus versions of these. I have the omnibus versions of the first 4. I have the first 4 omnibuses for Evangelion. However, unfortunately, I don't have the last one. I just have the last 2 volumes. I got these before the last omnibus came out. So I don't really see much of a need to get the last omnibus, if not just for collector's sake. I might someday, I'm not sure, but I've got the original Tokyo Ghoul series here too, volumes 1 through 14. Great series. If you've seen the anime, definitely check this out, especially if you've seen Rude and you were disappointed. The second half of the original Tokyo Ghoul is really good stuff, and Rude just leaves out a lot of great character development, a lot of great scenes that were just not in the anime. You got a random volume here. We got Parasite volume 11. When I was on vacation, I went to the comic store. I went to the out-of-print section, and I got this, and it's basically an out-of-print volume. I need to get the rest of Parasite. This is basically just a random volume of it I have, which is basically just an old volume of Parasite that was published before Kodansha got a hold of it and started publishing it. At least I think it was it Kodansha? Yes, it was. Okay, so got that. And I got ReZero. ReZero EX and ReZero volumes 1 through 6. ReZero is great. I saw the anime and I loved it, so I wanted to start reading the light novel. Unfortunately, currently, ReZero is not past the 3rd arc in the anime with the light novels that have been released so far. But it only gets past that in volume 9, so we're going to have to wait a while until we get past that. The volumes are kind of releasing somewhat slowly, but they are coming out. The next volume is coming out, I think, in July, So that basically deals with the white whale and all that. So we've been getting up to that point. There are some details the light novel has that the anime didn't really adapt, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's a really good read, so I would definitely check it out if you've seen the anime. Really good stuff. I haven't gotten around to to reading ReZero EX yet, but I hear it's good too. Basically, the first volume goes over some backstory with Ferris and Crush, and then the second one is Wilhelm and his wife, which is touched upon in the anime and in the light novel, so I'm not really sure. I guess it's just basically more of a more fleshed out backstory. I'm not really sure what that goes over, but I got that too. FLCL, the Omnibus, pretty good. I've only seen some of the FLCL anime, and I know this is basically completely different from the anime. It's weird and random, basically the same as the anime, but I know there are some differences. Darker Than Black, the manga, this is basically its own thing. Doesn't really have much of anything to do with the anime. It's basically just a side story. It's okay. It's one of those manga I read when I first, when I was kind of first getting into manga. Attack on Titan, Before the Fall. Prequel to Attack on Titan that takes place 70 or so years before Attack on Titan and follows a character named Koklo and this girl I forget the name of. It's pretty good stuff so far. Basically, it also, because it takes place 70 years prior to the Attack on Titan, they don't have 3D maneuver gear, so it's pretty interesting to watch how they deal with Titans without using the 3D maneuver gear. So that's pretty good. I've got 1, 2, and 9. I picked up 9 at the comic shop too, because they had that and they didn't have the other volumes, and after reading 1 and 2, I was basically like, I'm going to read the rest of this. So I do need to get the other volumes. I have not yet, so need to get on that. And go over here, we've got some random box sets. We've got the Death Note complete manga box set, Silent Voice manga box set, really good series. I'm about to start on volume 5. I've seen the movie. The anime goes over some stuff that the movie doesn't cover because it's a movie, so they only get, they condense it. But they basically went over the important stuff. The manga basically just goes more into things, which is always good. I got some random comics over here, hardcover comics, Lock and Key. Pretty interesting series. I want to read the rest of it, but I do not have the rest of it. I need to get around to reading it, or reading the rest of the series. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. Heard a lot of good things about it. Have not started reading it yet. It's Frank Miller. Frank Miller is a really good... is pretty much a kind of like a legend, I guess, in the comics industry. Batman: The Killing Joke. I've read that. It's an interesting kind of, I guess, I don't say like kind of a what if scenario. It's done by Alan Moore. Alan Moore is also kind of like a legend. He's one of the most well-known people in the comics industry. So that was pretty good story. And over here behind, I got some contact stuff. I do wear contacts. Behind all that, we've got Stephen King, The Dark Tower box set. That's not manga or comics or anything, but it's basically the box set for the entire series for The Dark Tower. And my most prized manga box set, or the one I'm most proud of owning, is the Akira box set. This thing is beautiful. It basically has hardcover versions of all 6 Akira volumes. So it's really nice and looks really great on the shelf. This is actually, this is my dresser, but unfortunately I have nowhere else to put this because it's so fucking huge. The manga box set is so fucking big. Like it basically takes up almost my entire dresser. That's how fucking big this thing is. And then we've got then we got Luger over there too. I had to move him. We've got the Akira, the original Kodansha Akira, big volumes for Akira. I have the first 3. I got these before I got the Akira box set, so got those. Move this fucking thing out of the way. We got the Ghost in the Shell. This is not hardcover. This is basically the Ghost in the Shell manga. The manga the movie was based on. The manga is very different. The story near the end, they go over some other stories that's basically like these other cases Section 8 did, and then near the end we go over the stuff with the Puppet Master. And Motoko is very different in the manga. She's basically she has more of a personality. She's more cheery. She's basically
a very different character from the movie version, who is always kind of seems depressed and somber. So it's a very different take on her character. I would say the standalone complex version of her is probably closer to the version of her in the manga. And then, I'm just going to move this shit out of the way. We got Ghost in the Shell, Human Error Processor. This is basically like side stories, or just stories that did not get included in the original manga that basically they created another volume for. Have not read this yet, unfortunately, so I don't really have much to say about it. And then we have Ghost in the Shell, the second manga for Ghost in the Shell, Man-Machine Interface. Basically, this is... I've heard things about this, and it basically doesn't really... I think they probably took some... I would guess they took some stories from this and put it in, like, standalone complex or something. But a lot of it's just, like, very different from any of the anime iterations. So that'll be interesting to read. Up here we got the Auto Persona 5. Got some figures. Don't really have anywhere else to put them. And here we got some more Junji Ito, Gyo, Uzumaki, Tomie. Really good stuff. I definitely highly recommend reading those. Then we got All You Need Is Kill, Umedeku Volumes 1 and 2. Sorry, I got some figures in the way there. These are the Neon Genesis Evangelion omnibuses that I have. The manga is, in my opinion... the manga, in my opinion, is way superior to the original anime. I really prefer the manga. The manga has a better ending than the anime, in my opinion, and Shinji is just all around a better character in the manga than he is in the anime. So I would say if you were in any way disappointed with the original anime, then you should definitely check out the manga. The manga will probably change your mind. Okay, and moving down here, we got the anime stuff. I'm going to start off with the box sets, at least the ones I have up here. Box set for Gundam Wing, the complete series with the OVAs and everything. We got some figures on top too. Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron-Blooded Orphans, the complete first season. I saw that the second box set for the second season is up for pre-order. Probably going to get on that soon. Darker Than Black, the complete series, first season, or well, the complete first season in Blu-ray. This is a limited edition, and this is the only way you can get this on Blu-ray too, is getting the limited edition set. We got some figures in front of that too, which is kind of bullshit. There's no standard edition set for the first season of Darker Than Black, but there's many different versions of season 2, which was a trash fire, so that's always great. But yeah, I had a hard time finding this, and the only way I could get it was on eBay. I think I paid around $100 for it, and that was way too much, but that's the only way I could get it, and it was the only person that had it at the time, so that's my excuse. I got the first season. First season, Darker Than Black, is great. Second season is complete garbage. Do not watch it. But yeah, first season, Darker Than Black, the limited edition set. I really don't like this limited edition set, by the way. It's really ugly, and you know, it comes in this like envelope thing. I don't really like how it's set up. I really wish you were better than what this is, but what can you do? Fucking Funimation. Okay, so getting down here, we've actually got more, well, way more anime stuff. I'm gonna have to move some of these so I can get to some of the sets that are, or some of the shows behind it. We got Overlord, limited edition, the complete series, Looking Up the Half Moon, pretty good romance series, really underrated. Martian Successor Nadesico. I got that because I heard it was a pretty good series and pretty humorous, so I'm always up for a series like that, and this was also done in the 90s. It's like 90s mecha anime, so I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. It's kind of like a Impulse Buy. Children Who Chase Lost Voices, another Impulse Buy, but it's done by, it's a Makoto Shinkai film, so, and it's one of the more lesser known ones, but I decided to pick it up. Gosick. Yeah, Go Sick. The complete series, really good show. I'm surprised it took so long for it to get a Blu-ray release, and that it even got an English dub, because this show has actually been around for a few years, and it didn't until like maybe last year, I want to say, get a Blu-ray release. So I picked up both sets. I watched the show originally on Funimation, on Crunchyroll, and I liked what I saw of it. Basically, it's kind of like a period piece mystery kind of show. Like, basically it takes place in it's not technically, it's kind of more like Violet Evergarden, where
it feels like that. It's technically in the 1930s, and it's like fictional countries fighting and all that. But it's sort of like a mirror to World War I time period. It's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, it's mainly a romance show, mystery romance show, and I think it's pretty good for what it is. Escaflowne, haven't seen it yet. Berserk, the complete series, the Box of War, the DVD version of Berserk, Egg of the King. I got this as like kind of an addition because I got this on eBay, and the guy just gave me the first DVD for Egg of the King, so that was pretty interesting. I'm probably gonna get the entire Blu-ray set eventually for the movies. Parasite seasons. Season. I mean, the complete series, not seasons. The box sets for Parasite. Really good show. Kame ga Kill. The show gets a lot of shit, but I think it's actually a pretty decent series for the most part. Does it feel too edgy sometimes? Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible. I actually liked the characters. I liked how vulnerable the characters felt. A lot of people didn't like that about the show, but I actually liked it. I thought it was fairly refreshing, honestly, because basically any of the characters could die at any point in time, and there are very few anime that really feel that way. And also it had a really good soundtrack too, and I think it actually comes with the soundtrack. But yeah, really great. Not great show, but it's a decent show. It's a solid series that I think gets way too much hate. Ajin, technically the first season. I talked about this with the manga. Basically the same thing is true for the anime. Similar to Tokyo Ghoul. Pretty good show, but it's different enough from Tokyo Ghoul. Rage of Bahamut Genesis. I saw Virgin Soul, which is the second season for this. It is, I really didn't like it that much. The first season, Genesis, is really good, and it's basically a fun action-adventure romp, I guess, is the best way to describe it. If you like that kind of thing, like a fantasy action-adventure show, then definitely check this out. The main character, Favreau, is fucking great. Love him as a character. That's why I didn't like Virgin Soul that much, because the new character, the new main character, just forget her fucking name, didn't really like her that much. I don't know. I liked her at first, but then as the series went on, you just like her less and less. Because she's obsessed with the main villain, because she loves him, and okay, I won't get into the plot. It's really stupid. Anyways, Seraph of the End, the first part, the Limited Edition set. Box set is really nice. Basically, this glows in the dark, like it's the green glows in the dark. Which is pretty cool. But the show itself, I've heard very mixed things about it. Some people say it's average, others say it's just bad. I don't know. It's one of those things that I honestly kind of regret buying. If I were to go back, I don't know if I would have bought it. I haven't watched it yet, but sometimes people's reviews tend to deter me. I really want to watch it and just judge for myself. It might be an okay show, but yeah, a lot of people said this is not very good. Psycho-Pass, the complete first season and the movie. I don't have season 2 because I really don't like season 2. The first season, Psycho-Pass is a good show. It's written by Gin Urobuchi, the Uro Butcher. Basically, think of a futuristic crime drama series. Kind of similar to Ghost in the Shell in that regard, but it's also pretty different. Really good show. The movie is also really good. It sort of serves as like a kind of a send-off for the main character, or one of the main characters in the show, Shinya Kogami. Really good movie. The movie is great. The Urobuchi comes back for the movie. The second season, you could tell, wasn't actually done by Urobuchi, and you can tell. So that kind of sucks. Urobuchi's worked on like a lot of stuff that he just kind of ends up leaving sometimes. Like he'll just leave, and I don't really know why. I know that was the case with Aldnoah Zero, because Aldnoah Zero had some potential at first, and it kind of ended up being a Gundam ripoff. But Urobuchi was on for the beginning of Aldnoah Zero, then he left, and you could tell because the quality dipped after when he, at the point where he left the show. So it's like, yeah, you kind of have to wonder how the show would have turned out had Urobuchi done it, been on for the whole thing. Death Parade, really great series. The opening for this show is completely misleading. I thought it was going to kind of be more like a comedy. This is actually a really serious show that tackles the concept of death and the afterlife and people's regrets of what they did in life. Basically, people are confronted, they go to this purgatory-like place that's basically modeled after like a nightclub. And they're basically, they basically are forced to play these games, like the billiards and pool, but they're basically like dark, twisted versions of that, that basically get these people to admit some of the bad things they've done in their life. You get all these different kinds of people that come to this nightclub. Some, good people, bad people, people who didn't deserve to die, and all this kind of. It's really interesting because you get a really interesting cast of characters that go to this place, and as the series progresses, there is kind of a main plot line that continues to develop through the course of the series. It's only 13 episodes, but it's a really damn good show. I highly recommend it. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it either. Really great show. Death Note, there really isn't much to say about Death Note. It's one of the best anime series ever made. I got the Blu-ray box set, the Omega edition. Pretty good set, pretty nice set. Limited edition box set for Assassination Classroom. I really don't like how Funimation did this because you really can't make out the lettering. Like, it's so dark. Like, the lettering here is so dark and it blends in with the black box for the series, so you can't really see what the fuck it says. They should have just done like some white letters or something on a black background, or given this more of like an outline, because as it is now, it's really hard to tell like what this even says. So really, when you just look at it, it looks like a black box. So first, limited edition for the first part of the first season, second part of the first season, first part of the second season. I do not have the second part of the second season yet. I need to get that. Steins Gate, the movie. Really good movie. It's an original plot for the anime, but it's a good one. Okay. Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Really good show. Future Diary. I really need to get the new version, or the new set for Future Diary that comes with the OVA. For some reason, Funimation took forever to get around to licensing the OVA for it, for the series, which is basically the series. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, that kind of pissed me off. Garo, the animation, first season, really great show. I'm glad I got around to watching this. I got intrigued because I started watching Garo Vanishing Line, so I wanted to get around to watching the original series. Really great show. Prison School. Some mistakes were made in the dub for the show when it was first airing, but fortunately they fixed it. My Hero Academia, Season 1, Limited Edition set. My Hero Academia, Season 2, Part 1, Limited Edition set. This really didn't come with a lot of stuff. I was kind of disappointed. I think the second set comes with a little bit more. I could be wrong, but I'm going to eventually get around to getting that. This is a good show so far. Some people might say it's overrated. I think it's a good series. And on top of that, we've got some stuff I have to improvise sometimes because I'm running out of space. Need to get more shelves. I got Red Garden. I Impulse Buy. I heard it was good. Got it. Welcome to the NHK. Probably one of my, I don't know. I want to say this is one of my favorite shows. Because it's such a good, it's a slice of life, but it's the main character is so relatable because he's in Japan what they call a NEET. He doesn't really act like much of a NEET. He's more just like an introvert. He's more like an introverted nerd who's just always on his computer and he doesn't want to leave his house. It's like I say in that regard, it's a little bit relatable. Not that I never want to leave my house, but I also have a pretty introverted personality. I go out, of course, but. Like I said, it's a very relatable show. Really good drama. It's also very comedic too. Very in the comedy is really good. So I'd highly recommend it. It's a little bit of an older show, but it's still a great series. Definitely recommend the show. Okay, so we got Zammed. Really good series, but it's a good series, but it's also really incomprehensible sometimes. There's a lot of confusing stuff that you really want to understand, and they don't bother to explain. So I think it's that's the biggest flaw of the show. I see where the show is trying to go. It's very similar to Eureka 7 in some regards, but
it just, I don't know, the show just, like I said, there's a lot of things and a lot of things in the world that aren't really sufficiently explained, and a lot of character backstory that doesn't really get delved into too much. There's some pretty good development with the characters, but there's a lot, like, you feel like you're missing when you watch the show. Like, they should have, like, there's either stuff that might have been cut out or that they should have gone over. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a good show for what it is. It's just, it could have been much more. The original Mobile Suit Gundam, one of the best anime, well, probably one of the most influential anime of all time. Mobile Suit Gundam, the 8th MS team, Mobile Suit Gundam 0083, Stardust Memory. First part of Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta, I need to get the second part. The individual Blu-ray releases for Gundam Unicorn, 1 through 7. I got the first press limited edition sets for the third part, and 6 and 7. Those are really nice. I really wish I would have held off on getting this because, at the time I did not know that Nozomi was going to be getting Unicorn, so they eventually ended up releasing an entire set for Unicorn, which included everything. So that kind of pissed me off because I spent quite a bit of money to get the individual Blu-rays, but it's fine. Whatever. Okay, and then we got Turn A Gundam. Turn A Gundam is pretty underrated. Not a lot of people talk about Turn A Gundam. It's a weird series. It takes place kinda after the Universal Century. There's some allusions that it does. But it's a good show. It just takes it's one of those shows that takes a while to really get going and to really get interesting. But it's a good show. Like, I didn't think it wasn't one of my favorite Gundams, but it was pretty good for what it was. Redline is fucking amazing. Like, the animation for it is great. It's all hand-drawn stuff, so it just looks fantastic. Beyond the Boundary, the movie, I really just got this for the second movie, which was basically like an epilogue to the anime. It serves as a pretty decent epilogue. I feel like it could have been more than what it was, but it was fine. From the New World, I've heard a lot of good things about the show, but I have not seen it yet. Yu Yu Hakusho, the complete series, Attack on Titan, season 1, season 1 and 2, yeah. So season 1, the individual sets, and of course, in typical Funimation fashion, they release they much later release a complete set for season 1. So you feel like a fucking sucker for buying these in parts. Thanks, Funimation. And then Attack on Titan Season 2, the limited edition set. Really nice set. I know they did some similar box sets for the first season, but they're out of print now, and I was never able to get my hands on them. Bleach, the first Blu-ray set. I like that they're doing these Blu-ray sets now for Bleach. It really kind of deserves it, in my opinion. It's not a classic show by any means, but it's one of those shows that most people will probably fondly remember for kind of getting them into anime, or just that they watched, on Adult Swim or something late at night. That's what I remember about it. It definitely has its problems. It has a lot of problems, actually. The manga doesn't get any better, but it had potential, and it's good in some points. There's some really good moments in the show. The only thing is that you have to wade through basically a ton of shit to get there if you watch the filler, or you could just skip over the filler. If you skip over the filler, Bleach isn't too bad. Like, it's the main story that's there is fine, at least in the anime. I know I can't really say the same for the manga, but yeah, it's an okay show. It's not amazing, but it's alright for what it is. Wolf Children, really fucking... I really want to see some of this guy's other work. What was it? Mamoru Osoda? Because I've only seen Wolf Children, and I know he does a lot of other good movies like Summer Wars and all that. I have not seen those, but I've seen Wolf Children. Wolf Children is really emotional, it's very similar to Makoto Shinkai. It's really good stuff. Strike the Blood. This also is something that did not get a Blu-ray, or at least a Western, like, US Blu-ray release for the longest time. It's a pretty good show, so I picked it up. It does not have the English dub, unfortunately, or an English dub, unfortunately, but it's whatever. I don't know, you can kind of barely see it, but that's Tokyo Ghoul, the first season. Terror in Resonance, really good show, but it's just really short. Like, it doesn't feel so much like a show, more so than maybe like kind of a movie, if anything. The show has a definite like beginning and end point and all that, and it's I I just wish it were longer. Like, it has a pretty conclusive ending. It's just one of those shows that was just so good. I wish it was just longer. And also, Yoko Kanno does the soundtrack, so you already know that it's gonna be good. Sekirei, I can explain. I got this because I thought it was going out of print, and my collector's mentality kicked in, and I'm like, oh, well, I better get this now. And I'm pretty sure the series is still available. Also in this version too. I don't know if Funimation was lying to us, but it didn't really go out of print, I don't think. Scrap Princess. This was an impulse buy too, and sometimes impulse buys can bite you in the ass. Not saying it was a bad show, but it was... it had a lot of potential and it didn't really go anywhere with it. It just felt like, once I was done watching it, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's it. Like, that's how I felt. And I don't know if I'd say it's underrated. I'd say it's pretty deserving of its status as basically just being as underrated as it really is, or just not really as well known. Because the show, for the most part, honestly, is fairly forgettable. Like, it's okay, but it could have been so much better, and it really has one of those endings where it feels like a major ass pull, and, basically where it feels like everything's about to be fucked. And then, of course, at the very end, because of plot convenience and some Deus Ex Machina, everything's fine. Did not like that, really didn't fucking like that. There's also a character in the show who's, like, really comedic, mostly comedic relief. But at the end of the show, he basically grows a fucking spine, because he's going after the main girl, Pacifica, I think her name is, throughout most of the series. I mean, there's some weird incest implications with her and her brother in the show, but that's besides the point. Basically, he's trying to get with her and all that, and it's kind of just played off as a comedy. But at the very end of the show, he legit is, like, seriously just proposes and is like, hey, I would like to... I'd like to start going out with you or something like that. And she just basically, like, writes it off and goes into a slapstick routine. And that's basically how the show ends. And I'm like, you're really going to end on that note. It really just left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't find it that funny. I just thought it was kind of stupid. Okay, enough about that. I could go into an entire rant about this show. Wolf's Rain, fucking really good series. Only problem with it is it has, like, 2 recap episodes that try to, like, recap the whole show. I don't know why they do that. It's so pointless. It doesn't serve a purpose. If you've been watching up until that point, you don't need a recap. But it's a good show. Aside from that, the show is really good. I don't know if I'd say it's one of my favorites. It's a really emotional show. It's also very unique in terms of its plot and everything. But yeah, I don't want to spoil things. I did a whole review of the show, shameless plug, unfortunately. Bandai is basically block happy, and they'll block all your fucking videos if you try to do anime reviews and use the footage from their shows. So, yeah, I got fucked over on that. Had to upload it to Dailymotion and just, do the review over a still fucking image. That's always fun. We got High School of the Dead, the box set. Basically, this is the complete series and the OVA, I think. I heard the OVA is just... I heard the show's really good, and it has really good English dub where they kind of just fuck around, which is always great. Those are some of my favorite English dubs. They're basically just a bunch of pop culture references, and they don't really... It's not that they don't take it seriously, but it's like they basically just do their own thing, which I really kind of like. As long as it's at least somewhat close to the original Japanese. I know the original Japanese version is actually a lot more serious, so I don't know. I guess you kind of get 2 different versions of the show depending on which one you watch. But I haven't seen it yet. I've seen a lot of reviews of it. I've seen a lot of footage of it. So I more or less know, like, pretty much most of the major spoilers and all that kind of stuff. And I know that basically the manga was on hiatus for a long time. And now the creator, I think, is died a while ago, which is kind of depressing. So I don't know if the series will ever really get a proper ending. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I have not yet seen it. I really need to get around to it. And... okay, so last but not, well, not last, but look down here, we got the collector's edition sets for Lobos of the Gun of the Origin. We got the first set, the second one, the third one, and these are all in these, like, really big vinyl cases, so, just general, like, in general, where to put these things is kind of like, I had no idea where to put them, so as you can see, I just put them on the fucking floor because there's no room on my shelves for these. If I move out one day, I'll definitely have somewhere that I can put them, but for now, they're just on my floor. We got the 4th one, the 5th one. Basically, I did a review I did a first impressions of the manga for Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. Manga is very different from the anime. The anime is basically Char's backstory, and it's really good so far. It is really good. It's really interesting. But I don't know, if you were to ask me which one I preferred so far, I would have to say the manga. The manga is just because the manga is the original series and it does flesh out the characters some more. This is good too. It's basically, like I said, a majority of it is Char's backstory and follows some of the other characters from the original series and what they were doing before the original show. So that's always interesting. But I'm gonna have to put these down, actually, in order to reveal what is at the bottom of the shelf. So, okay, going from left to right here, that's Kylo right over there. We got School Live. Pretty good show, actually. Like, it's one of those shows that's fairly similar to Madoka, where it kind of fools you into thinking it's going to be like a moe show, but it's really not like that. So it's an interesting series. Real Life, pretty good show. It's like a slice of life show where main character basically is given this pill that can make him appear like he's 27 years old or something, and he hasn't really done much with his life, and he's basically given the chance to go back to high school and redo his high school life. And so him taking this pill makes him appear like he's a teenager again. So it's pretty interesting stuff. He basically still has like the mind of a 27-year-old, but he's going through this again, and he's going through this thing called the Real Life program. And it's basically like a study on, trying to give these like people who are kind of like NEETs or just social outcasts like another chance at life and trying to fix their life. So it's pretty interesting stuff. This is the Blu-ray. You can't see it, but I think you can. The Blu-ray set for Hibine Renmei. This is an import, and it does have the English dub. The Blu-ray for this is it's not the best. It's basically like it's not the best quality transfer. It's kind of more like a kind of an up-res, if anything. It looks okay, but it could look a lot better. You also cannot see the spine of this. This is the save version of Shiki. I just put the reverse cover over it because the Funimation save editions are garbage. I really don't like the way they look. I hate that fucking green spine. So if I'm able to, I just reverse the covers because or use the reverse cover because it looks a lot better. The Gray Man, the first part of the first season on Blu-ray. It's kind of weird what they did with the Gray Man releases. They have the first season on Blu-ray. It's literally impossible to find the second part of the first season on Blu-ray. I looked everywhere, I could not find it. So I just got the DVD of that. Second part of the first season, the Gray Man the complete second season. I started watching the second season. I started watching the Gray Man. It's a really good show. It's a shonen, but it's like set in this like Victorian era, and basically, there's this order of people called the Black Order, and it's exorcists who fight these demons called Akuma. And Akuma are created by people's despair when somebody dies, and Akuma is created. This character called the Millennium Earl tries to make a deal with them, saying they could bring their loved one back to life, but really they're just made into this demon called Nakuma. It's pretty similar to Full Metal Alchemist, honestly, when I think about it, because partially because of the time period, and also because of the concept of how they deal with death. It deals with death quite a bit, and there's just a lot of themes that have to do with like death and people passing on, and somebody's grief after somebody's died. It's some pretty heavy stuff, and it's pretty dark for a shonen show, so that's what I like about it so much. The only problem I have with it so far is it feels like there's a lot of filler here and there, and the filler stuff is really annoying, like especially the stuff with I forget what his name is, but he's basically like one of the leaders of the Black Order, and he's completely obsessed with his sister, Lena Lee, to the point where it's incredibly creepy and just almost not funny. But a lot of the filler with him involves him just basically trying to be incredibly overprotective of her, and him building these robots that'll like try to spy on her for him or something. It's really weird. I really just, those episodes, I was like, okay, can we please just stop? Can we get past this, please? But okay, so we got another DVD for Samurai 7. This is something I got with the Berserk box of war sets that I got from that guy on eBay. He gave me like one of the random DVD volumes for Samurai 7. And that was pretty cool. I haven't seen the show, so I don't really know what to say about it. This is just a random volume of it. I'll have to get the complete series eventually. Kino's Journey. It's a really good show. I haven't seen it. Parasite Dolls. I got this when they were having this really big sale on the Sentai website where they were trying to sell off all their stock of DVDs, so they pretty heavily discounted a lot of things. So this was pretty heavily discounted. Sayuki, this was also pretty heavily discounted. There's like 50 episodes, I think. So pretty good deal. I forget how much I got it for. I might have gotten it for like $20 or something like that. Pretty cheap. Sayuki Gaiden, this is, I think, maybe an OVA. I think it's like 12 episodes. I forgot how much this was. I think it was like $14. So pretty good. Knowing the limited edition set. This was done by the same guy that did Escaflowne, and it's, I've seen it. It's okay. It's one of those purchases I honestly a little bit regret because it was an impulse buy, and I'm like, oh, it looks interesting. And then I watched it, and I'm like, what am I watching? Like, yeah, I don't want to go over every series I have, but this was just, it was okay. Date Alive, the first season on limited edition set, really good show, really good comedy harem show. Gurren Lagann, the complete series box set. This has the recap movies with the new animation and the complete series. Amazing show. I really want to do a review of it someday. Knights of Sidonia, the first season and the second one, which is like Battle for Planet 9, I think it was called. Limited edition sets. Fate Zero limited edition sets, volumes, the first box set and the second one. Really good show. I had the DVD, well, I think I still do have the DVD for the first and second seasons. I need to sell those or something. This is actually, you can't see it, but this is Outlaw Star. This is the box set for Outlaw Star. Box set for Black Lagoon. It's basically like this bullet box thing. This is also the limited edition for Iron-Blooded Orphans. Limited edition for the Your Name movie. This is a really nice set. This basically has like this like kind of holographic looking cover, like reflective. It has like a reflective box, so that's pretty cool. Angel Beats. I also heard this was going to be out of print, which I think was a lie because I can still find this and it doesn't say it's out of print, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But anyways, colorful. I saw the movie. It's a really good movie. It's pretty emotional, but it's a pretty good movie. Basically, like, I think it has to do with this guy who is a spirit, or he's in the afterlife. He's in purgatory, and he's given the chance to, like, to live again or to live somebody else's life. And as the movie goes on, he finds out more about this person and his friends and his family, and it's pretty interesting stuff. What was it? Sankarea? I don't know how you pronounce that. Sankarea Undying Love. This is something else I got during the Right Stuff Funimation sale. Right Stuff has a lot of sales. Like, I swear I'm not a shill for Right Stuff, but they have some pretty good deals. So if you're looking to collect anime or manga, I recommend that site. Drifters, the complete first season. This is done by the same guy that did Hellsing, and you can definitely tell. I think this is also the same studio that worked on the Hellsing Ultimate OVAs. So it has really good animation, and it's basically about like these different mythological heroes that all like come together and start fighting each other. It's pretty in like this fantasy world. Really good stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna have to move everything and get through all the stuff that I have that is behind. All these box sets and shows, and oh man, this is going to be a pain in my ass. Clearly, I have gravely underestimated how much shit I would have to move. Holy fuck. Okay. So I'm going to try to go through this
fairly quickly because my battery is actually dying. Blood Plus, the first part and second part. Unfortunately, Sony released this. I think Funimation should have the rights to it. So Funimation, if you ever see this video, please do a Blu-ray release for Blood Plus. It's a really good series. Evangelion, the Rebuild movies, 1, 2, and 3. Steins Gate, Spice and Wolf, Marduk Scramble movies, really good movies. Eureka 7, the first part and second part. Amazing series, really good romance. Oh man, I forgot I even had some of these. Waiting in the Summer, Hellgirl Season 2, Really thought the first season was better. Fullmetal Alchemist, the original series on DVD. And I got a random volume of Black Lagoon here. Somebody gave that to me. Vampire Knight, I hate that I don't know why I have these. You're like, yeah, why do I have these? I don't remember. I think I got these when in my defense, I got these when I didn't know anything about Vampire Knight. But basically, Vampire Knight is the Twilight of anime, and it's garbage. I don't get it. Fullmetal Alchemist, the original series on Blu-ray. Unfortunately, I don't have the movie, or the Conqueror of Shambhala movie. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Basically, this is the original, these are the original Funimation individual releases for Brotherhood before they had the complete sets. Fullmetal Alchemist, I know you can't really see that. The Sacred Star of Milos. It's an okay movie. Tales of Assyria, Dawn of the Shepherd. I haven't seen it. Tono-Kon, Kokoro Connect, Clannad, that's the first season. Phantom, Requiem for the Phantom, pretty good show. Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, really good series. Ghost in the Shell, Solid State Society, pretty good movie. I have it on Blu-ray too. Canon, good show. Claymore, box set, Serial Experiments Lane. I know this box set is hard to find now, so I'm glad I have it. Shakugan no Shana, first season, second season. Second season. I got the OVA too. Unfortunately, it's the save version. Shakugan no Shana season 3. Really good series. Certain Magical Index, Certain Magical Index 2, Kanan, Higurashi When They Cry. I do not have Ray. I have the first season, the second season, Ghost in the Shell, the original movie, Ghost in the Shell 2.0. I got that before I got the Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Shell Blu-ray movie. I actually have the steelbook of this too. And then I think that's Ghost in the Shell, Solid State Society. I believe that's Ergo Proxy, Shangri-La, Trigun Badlands Rumble, Code Geass, the DVDs, Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, the DVD, which I did not have that, because I have the Blu-ray. Well, I have the Blu-ray for the second season, but not the first. Well, actually, I do have the first Blu-ray for the first one, but it's the shitty, the Anchor Bay release, which is horrible. Howl, the movie, Akira, Kurokami, really good underrated series. I really want to talk about that show someday. It's a really good show. I was talking about that earlier with the Black God Blu-rays. Danganronpa, the animation, could have been better. It was okay for what it was, but it could have been more faithful to the visual novel. It did cut some things out. Beyond the Boundary, complete series, really good show. Razafon, complete series. It's also a really good show. It's kind of similar to Evangelion, but with like this weird Egyptian symbolism. Gurren Lagann, the complete series. These are DVDs. I upgraded to the Blu-rays. Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, Part 1 and 2. Limited edition set. Garden of the Sinners. I spent $300 on this fucking thing, but it was worth it because I love the Garden of the Sinners movies, or the Kar no Kyokai. I still need to get recalled out of Summer or Murai Fukuin. I don't have that one. Persona 3, the movies. I got the standard edition of the first movie and the limited editions of the other ones. Okay. Okay, those are really hard to see. Okay, so we got Fate Zero DVDs, Toko, Familiar of Zero, Tokyo Magnitude, Dream Eater Mary, pretty good show, but it ended way too soon. Ungo, haven't seen it. Night Raid 1931, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Is This a Zombie? Hilarious fucking series. Cowboy Bebop, I got that as a present. The original series in the movies, and the movie. The original Fate Stay Night anime. Fate Clade Liner. Ghost in the Shell Arise. Ghost in the Shell, the new movie. Fatema Inverted. Good movie. Nobody really talks about it. I don't know why. It's good. It's a really good fucking movie. Soul Eater, Harmony. What else do we got here? I can barely fucking see that. Oh, that's Lopscaris. That's something I really wish I never bought because it's horrible. Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex, the first season. It's the shitty Anchor Bay release. Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, December Sky, and Bandit Flower. If you have not seen these, highly recommend them, especially if you're a Gundam fan. It takes place in the Universal Century and is really dark. I've talked about this a little bit before. Madoka Magica, the complete series on the Blu-ray box set. Erased, parts 1 and 2 box sets. You can't really see it, but that is Code Geass. That's the complete series for Code Geass on Blu-ray. Code Geass Akito the Exiled. That is also at the end there. That's a collector's edition set for Tokyo Ghoul. Whew. Okay, so that was something, but that was my complete manga and anime collection. There's more over there, obviously. And then there was my movies and games. But this is a mess, and I look forward to cleaning it up. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, I will see you all later.